Hi, I'm Johnny and you're watching The Hexy Beast, and on this episode we're going to be doing the third part of my shelf by shelf series where we're going to be taking a look at this shelf right here. There's actually quite a lot of games on this one and I'm actually quite looking forward to it, but hopefully this episode won't be too long. Anyway, let's just get to the table and talk about some games, shall we? Well, here we are. It looks like we're at another video where I'm going to try not to melt in this room. Okay, we've got a bit of a doozy this time. I actually didn't realise there was that much on this shelf. So let's get started with some of the small boxes. Over here, we've got A Gentle Rain from Kevin Wilson. Is it Kevin Wilson? Yeah, it is Kevin Wilson. This is a fun little relaxing game. It's kind of like a tile laying game. It's more zen. There isn't really no win or loss. It's just designed to relax you. You do score points, but I quite enjoyed it. There is a review of this on the channel as well, so go check that out. So obviously I played that. Let's move on to the first, before my chair falls over. The first one I've got to show off from the Universe. This is Arion, which is like a kind of like a dice version of poker. It's quite a fun game. I quite enjoy it, and obviously it's going to go in the pile on this side. I'm going to say it's my left, but it's probably your right. I can't remember. Either way, I'm going to be reviewing this one at some point because I really enjoyed it. So let's just put that over there and get on with the next box. And we have Project L, which is a polyomino style game. It's very puzzly. I quite enjoy it. It's quite simple, but it has like a really striking minimalist art style that really appeals to me. It's always one of those games that get people asking questions about it when they see the box. I really enjoy it. It's been played a few times. Plays quite quickly actually. I think it's actually a really good solo game. I'm going to probably review that at some point as well. That's going over there. The next game on the list is, I think we need to find something that actually belongs in the pile that I haven't played. So first thing we're going to do, found something. The other thing we got over here is Dark Souls the card game and an expansion from Steamforged Games. And to be honest, I'm not entirely sure like whether I'm going to like this or not. I just spotted it in a shop, I picked it up. I haven't played it yet. I've only had it a couple of weeks, but it is also on the shelf and I've heard a lot of good things about it, so I'm actually looking forward to trying it out as a fan of video games. But this also goes into my stack of I can't think of a name for it. What should we call it? The stack of Putrid Pestilence. There we go. The stack of Putrid Pestilence has its first things in it, and that is the Dark Souls card game. And I will get these played eventually, but obviously in the stack of Putrid Pestilence is where it's going to live for now. So let's move on to the next game, and this is a game that I've played, but I've only played it once or twice. And this is Tinner's Trail, which is actually a re-implementation of an old Martin Wallace game with a new solo mode by David Digby that I saw last year at UKGE, which is coming up again. And I've only played it a couple of times, but it is my intention to give this a closer look on the channel at some point because it's actually quite an interesting auction mechanic in it, which I want to talk about. So that's a really fun game too. That's Tinner's Trail. That's going over there. What else have we got? Let's have a look what's up here. Oh yeah, the first thing from Chip TV Games that you've seen so far in the series is actually, this is the shelf where Triple Lock lives, which is kind of like a lock picking game. It's a good little puzzle game. It's not like on the same scale as a lot of the other Chip Theory stuff, but it still has a lot of the nice components and all that, and it also has like these like episodes that you get to play through, which is quite fun as a solo game. It also has like a 2-player mode, which I haven't tried yet, but the solo is quite fun, has an interesting art style, and it's still, you know, that usual Chip Theory quality that you've come to expect. So let's put that over there for now. And what's the next game? Another one for the I can't remember what the name of the pile is, but the other one for that pile over there, which I forgot the name of, is one of the Universe games called Sylveon, which I haven't tried yet. I think it's a sort of like another card game. It's not similar to Onirim. It has like a few different mechanics, but it's one of those Universe games, so I'm probably going to like it. I'm trying to collect them all, and I'm just going to put that in this pile that I've forgotten the name of. The pile that shall not be named. And basically, another small box, which is one I bought at last year's UK Games Expo, is One Deck Dungeon, Forest of Shadow. Now this is a standalone expansion to One Deck Dungeon, which is kind of like a sort of card-based dungeon crawl with a lot of dice rolling and dice placement, and it's quite a fun game, and it fits, as you can see, it's a very small game. It's one of those games that I keep in my backpack. It's one of those travel games, I like to say. It plays alright solo, it plays alright with multiplayer, but there is actually a cool campaign system in it, which I quite enjoy. So yeah, that's One Deck Dungeon, and it's going over in the nice pile. Now we are moving on to, ooh, that's a good one. That's a good one. We have Legends Untold. This is actually the Weeping Caves novice set. I know there's more to come from this game. It's basically sort of like a big sprawling dungeon crawly RPG campaign-y style thing, if you want it to be. Everything can also be played one shot. That fits in a small box. It has a nice system. It's really like sort of meaty combat system where there's like a back and forth between the enemies and your party. Just generally a lot of fun. One of the first games in my collection, and I think I'm not allowed to say too much, but I know Kevin's got some more in the works for this universe, and I'm really looking forward to it. I also have the Sewer set, which you'll probably see at some point later in the episode. But they both stand alone. You can play either of them to start with, but I really like the cave set, mainly because I think the art on the dungeon tiles is probably my favourite, and it has my favourite class, which is the Evicted Noble. But I'm basically just going to move this over into the fun pile, which is, yeah, it's definitely been played. So now we're on to some of the bigger boxes, like Robinson Crusoe, staple of the hobby this is. It's kind of like a survival game, obviously, because we're talking Robinson Crusoe. In the solo mode, you play as Robinson, and you also have a Friday and a dog. Each mission is very different. Like the first mission is to collect wood for a fire. There's a lot of like variety in the way missions play out and the way the scenarios are laid out. I just think it's a really interesting game. It's something that's very unique. You don't often see games like it. There is a similar game which is set in space, but I can't remember the name of it right now. But I think this is one of those games that if you're a solo gamer or a co-op gamer, you really have to try this out, because it's just something special. It's one of those games that really is like a staple of the genre. It's the staple of the genre it lives in. So anyway, let's move on to the next one. This one goes into the good pile over here. We actually don't have much more for this pile, I don't think. But the next game we're going to look at is Troy Dice, another one from Pearl Games we may have seen in the last episode. This is basically a roll and write version of Troy, which is a game from Pearl Games from a while ago. Similar to Worker Placement, plays a lot like Black Angel, but didn't really have a solo mode, whereas Troy Dice really does have a solo mode, and I've actually got a review of this one up on the channel, so if you want to go check that out. I just think it's a really fun dice game. It's got an interesting presence, which a lot of roll and writes don't have, with that circular board in the middle and stuff. I just think it looks good. It's one of those games that I really enjoy playing. It's probably one of my favourite roll and write games. I'm going to have to do a roll and write list now, aren't I? Yeah, so this one's going into this pile over here, and let's have a look what else we've got. Is there anything big? Anything big? Oh yes, we got Cuphead, the fast rolling dice game, which I was provided as a review copy from the op, and there is a review of this up on the channel already. It's basically a real-time dice placement game. It's quite controversial, actually. A lot of people don't like the real-time element of it, and I say if you're going to play this without the real-time elements, you're kind of doing yourself a disservice. The way it plays is that the timer is set, and you've only got that much time to roll and place your dice. Like I said, it can create a lot of pressure for some people, which is why I wouldn't recommend it for everyone, but if you really like the idea of a timed dice game, then this is absolutely one you should try out. The campaign does have a few problems, like there is the fact that it switches, by the time you get used to playing one style of game, it switches you into an aeroplane, and then you lose all your upgrades and you're back to being level 1 character again on the aeroplane. But that is only a minor gripe. So yeah, it's an alright game. Cuphead, fast rolling dice game from the op. We're going to put it by ear. There's a review on the channel, check it out if you want to know more. And what next? What next? Okay, so here we go. We've got another one. This is another staple of the genre. This is Friday. It's like a solo survival card game. Similar to well, I'd say it's nothing like Robinson Crusoe, actually. But they're kind of obviously based on a similar sort of survival style. This is a lot quicker. It's a pretty tough game by Friedman Freeze. It's one of those things that pretty much every solo gamer raves about. I've also done a review of this game, which also might help you out to play, because I discussed some of the edge cases in it. But I do sort of really like this game. It's another one of those backpack games similar to One Deck Dungeon that I'll end up in my backpack a lot of the time. Yeah, so that's Friday, everybody's favourite solo game basically. So we're just going to stick out of there. Also in a pile of played stuff, which is actually looking pretty good. The pile that should not be named, because I haven't been bothered to scrub back and check what I called it, is looking very small in this video. And oh, actually there's something else to add to it, but yeah, it is a a dice tray from Chip TV Games, which I haven't opened yet, so that's technically in this pile as well. Pile that shall not be named. And now we're going to, speaking of Chip TV Games, another thing that was on this shelf, like I said, it was a bit of a doozy, was the monstrosity, a good monstrosity that is, the beast I should say, that is Cloud Spire. This is a strategy game from Chip TV Games, a very long game. It has a really good solo campaign, which is why I really like it. It's kind of one of my favorite like strategic war games. I wouldn't really call it a war game because it's kind of a unique sort of Chip TV style game. For me, this is the game that kind of embodies what Chip TV means as a company. I really enjoyed this game. It was my first Chip TV game before I played Too Many Bones. And even though Too Many Bones to me is a better game, I often get this one out just because I really like the way that it sprawls on my table and how it looks while I'm playing it. It's just a joy to play, and everything is really nice, components, etc. It's a bit heavy, it's quite complex, but the play rates are fairly decent. I need to get an upgrade pack for it, but they're out of stock at the minute. But when I can, I will get an upgrade pack to get the improved rulebook, etc. And that goes into the play pile. Oh, it's a big pile. This is a very big pile. Okay, then this leaves us only one game on the list, I think. There's nothing else around me. I've been chucking them on the floor because they haven't really fit that well this episode. And that is the app-driven co-op adventure game, or whatever you want to call it, from Fantasy Flight Games, set in the Arkham universe. It's Mansions of Madness, and this is also what got me into the app-driven games. I kind of like the Lord of the Rings one as well, but this one is all one-shots, and I find that just kind of more appealing. I tend to play it more often, and I obviously liked it enough that I started buying all the expansions, and I've started squeezing them into their boxes. There's a lot more than just 2 expansions here. Basically, I've got this box is full of figures, this box is full of cards, and the other one is all tiles and the rest of the game, basically. So I'm kind of hiding behind a wall of games right now, and as you can see, I really like Mansions of Madness. I really like the rest of these games, to be honest. This has been a really strong shelf for me. I think if you've been enjoying this video or any of the other content on my channel, please feel free to smash that subscribe button up there and check out another one of my videos up here. Anyway, I've been Johnny, you've been watching The Hexy Beast. Thank you for watching, and most of all, stay hexy everyone.